They are arresting people on the streets, at schools and fields, even outside their own houses. Donald Trump promised to detain 1 million migrants per year with the help of 10,000 extra ICE agents, thanks to the passing of his big, beautiful bill. While he claims he's only arresting criminals, statistics show that 70% of current detainees have no criminal convictions. What does this do to communities with a high number of migrants? And what are the implications for the economy, especially in farming areas that highly rely on undocumented workers? We went to California, where over a third of the country's vegetables and over 3/4 of the country's fruits and nuts are grown. Oxnard is known as the fruit basket of the US. 90% of the country's strawberries are grown in California, most of them in this region.
It was like a war. So it's scary. It's something that you don't have no words to say.
You know, if you fit their description, whatever their description may be, you know, then they just take you, in, not even really understanding or wanting to see, you know, your legal documents, and then you show them and they don't care. I mean, even if you're a U.S. citizen, you know, they still take you, you know, and they assume that you're an illegal just because of the color of our skin, I guess. They say they don't want all these immigrants here, go back where you came from, but who's gonna, you know, do all this crop? It's just gonna spoil. Our resources are gonna be limited, very limited, and pay a lot more.
The other day we're working in the field, like 100 people, and next day that this happened, they were like at least 20 or less. Everybody's afraid, don't want to go out.
Usually, these fields are filled with hundreds of farm workers. Most of them are undocumented migrants. Now, many are hiding at home, increasingly afraid of being arrested and detained by US Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents, commonly known as ICE agents, especially since one migrant died during a raid at a nearby farm. So it's nearly impossible to get any of the workers here talking to us, and if so, we can only film them from the back because, of course, they're afraid that someone might recognize them. You see women here working behind me on the irrigation systems of the strawberry fields here in this area. Growing strawberries is really huge. We talked to one of the supervisors and he told us that basically no American is willing to do this hard labor in the heat, and that they really rely on undocumented migrants to do this work. Finally, we find a farm worker who is willing to speak to us.
With fear and everything, we're here working. And if you look around, there's only hard-working people. They think we're criminals, but we are not criminals. We are workers. We simply come to work. We do not come to steal from anyone. We come to earn our money earnestly. Even the majority of people at ICE will end up eating fruit from here. So, we're doing the work for them. Very hard work. Look all around. There are all hard-working people here. We're not criminal people.
Since Trump's second term started, arrests by ICE agents were already up by 40% before he got the extra funding. As of July 13th, less than 30% of those arrested had a criminal conviction, with many having committed only minor offenses such as traffic violations. 70% of all farm workers in the US are foreign-born, and 45% of those foreign-born farm workers are undocumented. Lucas Zucker is a community organizer who helps migrants get to work safely. He predicts that the extra funding for ICE will make the lives of migrants much worse.
This budget bill, this big ugly bill, is going to supercharge ICE. It is tripling their budget for investigations and raids. It's tripling their budget for detentions. And this is going to mean far more ICE agents in our communities every day. We're already seeing an unprecedented level of militarized ICE raids with federal agents who are masked, who are in unmarked cars, coming into our neighborhoods and tearing parents away from their children. If we imagine that multiplied multiple times over, that's what we're going to be experiencing when this money hits the ground. When ICE was not able to get into many of these workplaces, they just started driving up and down the streets looking for people to pull over.
Workers are afraid to get caught on public streets and try to park their cars on the farm property.
They're trying to meet these quotas. They're trying to meet a quota of 3,000 people a day being deported. This is not a super progressive bubble here. This is an agricultural community. It's a small town. But people are seeing what it means when federal agents are stomping through the farm fields and tearing away parents from their children. That workers are so afraid of ICE that they would run off a 30-foot building and risk death just to escape them. And although there may be many Americans who have anti-immigrant feelings sometimes, I think people are willing to defend their freedoms in this country and are very concerned with the violations of civil liberties and the violations of our Constitution that are happening. And we're seeing a big shift in public opinion as Trump's support on immigration issues absolutely plummets, as people all over this country see what it really means to carry out some of his promises from the campaign.
This is the legal cannabis farm where on July 10th, Jamie Alanis Garcia died during an ICE raid. Some 200 workers got arrested. The raid lasted for more than 13 hours. The community developed a system to share information when raids happen so they can show up in support. Julia Malach is one of them.
I got here by car. I drove in from this side and then there was cars parked all along this road. There were many people here already, and then at first it was just a bunch of ICE officers in a line with their little tank and military equipment and all geared up, and there were just people chanting and also like right in front of them, not in their face, but just creating a barrier. They were attacking us with this tear gas and rubber bullets and eventually pepper bullets, which is illegal. And so some people were screaming, hiding behind cars that were parked along the road. So these are the tear gas bombs that they were throwing at us. This I was personally hit with.
With this one?
Correct.
That's huge.
I took it as a souvenir. And evidence that.
And this is from the ICE agents. That's not from police or from National Guard, that's from the ICE agents, or who threw that at you?
Correct. These were the ICE agents who are pretending to be police. They had like a full-on gear, guns that were shooting rubber bullets. We had no weapons. All we had was people power and our voices.
July 10th, 2025, a day that will forever mark a dark chapter in Oxnard's history. The community is deeply shocked. The city council meeting begins with a moment of silence. Mayor Louis MacArthur addresses the crowd. Everyone who lives here has 3 minutes to speak on whatever subject matters to them.
And no, we're not looking for moments of silence, but action.
I feel like our community is under attack by the federal government.
The danger's already here.
And if we continue to sit back and say it's because of the person in the White House that we're not doing it, pardon me for this language, but then we are cowards.
These actions have caused immense fear, division, and trauma in our community, especially among immigrant and farm worker families, who are the backbone of our local economy and communities.
So many folks have been traumatized by these events. We need more than the resolution. We need something that will be there for community. How can we know what is going to happen? What more can we do as a city?
We meet Mayor MacArthur in his office. I want to understand how much sway local authorities have over federal agents.
That's the problem that we're having. Oftentimes when these operations are taking place is they're not letting local officials know what's happening, including police departments.
You as a mayor, the police chief, you don't have any say. When they come in here and do these raids, no one can stop them. Is this correct?
That's correct. Because they're federal agents, they have the right to go into any city they want and enforce immigration laws. Police can't intervene or stop them from doing their job. And I came from a 35-year career as a police officer. But I can tell you personally that anytime law enforcement came to our city, it was just professional courtesy to let us know that they were in our city doing whatever operation they were doing. And that was a public safety concern should neighbors call and see individuals with guns or doing a raid or executing a search warrant, then we would be able to tell our community, hey, look, this is what's happening. I can tell you, like here in our community, they're very intentionally going to our poorest communities. There's a high concentration of Hispanics that live in this sector of the city. Naturally, they've got to be immigrants, so they're going there. But it's difficult because it's like a David and Goliath situation here, right? They just approved, I think, $170 billion to continue these operations. How do you fight with that? These actions, these aggressive actions of ICE, it's hurting our local economy. It's hurting our hurting our food supply chain because we're a big agricultural community.
The impact of ICE presence is already visible. Fruit that should be picked is rotting on the ground, and empty boxes are stacked on the side of the street. We are driving up north to the Central Valley. Here, we finally meet a farmer who wants to talk with us on camera. Fear is everywhere. Joe Del Bosque is the son of a migrant himself. His father has been working on farms his whole life as a migrant worker. Joe began his own farm in 1985 and produces organic melons, tomatoes, cherries, and almonds.
I have not been talking very much to the media either because I don't want to bring attention to us. We don't know what our government's going to do. They say, one day they say they're going to work with agriculture to make sure that we have people. And then somebody else in the administration says, no, we got to deport everybody. He promised to deport criminals, and everyone is okay with that. Even our farm workers will say, yes, deport the criminals. That's okay. But 3,000 a day, that's probably more than just criminals.
Joe shares his family history with us.
When my ancestors came from Mexico, it was easy to come here. Just come to the border and fill out some paperwork and pay a fee and you come in. That was over 100 years ago. So they were not undocumented, but they were farm workers. And they were considered migrants because they used to travel from one part of the state to another part of the state working in agriculture. The last time that I remember raids was in the middle 80s, like 87, 86 in there. There were raids. They would come out and in vans and circle the field and then arrest the people who did not have documents. So that was not that long ago, in the 80s, yeah.
And how would you describe the difference to now?
The difference now is that now there's more attention from the media and social media. Obama deported 2 or 3 million people. There was no attention to that. He did not have raids on the farms, but he did go out and look for farm workers, for some specific farm workers that they did deport. If our country wants to have a domestic food supply, if we don't have the workers and we can't pick these crops, we're going to have to grow the crop somewhere else, in Mexico or Chile, right? And then bring it here. I don't think the president wants that. Both parties have failed us. Obama had a Democratic Congress and Senate, and he didn't do it. Okay, we have this opportunity now because he has both houses. Let's find a program to give them legal status, to continue working. There may be an opportunity to do it. We hope there is.
With the increased funding for ICE, we can expect more raids and arrests, especially targeting specific communities or industries that rely on immigrant labor, leading to workforce shortages and production issues. We already heard that even Trump supporters are getting more and more critical of his migration policies. Besides the negative economic impact, many sense a lack of fairness. The situation in Oxnard is a good example of how communities might push back through protests or legal action. In the eyes of his voter base, Donald Trump's record on migration will define his success or failure as a president.